Hello and welcome to another episode of Who's Coming to Dinner, starring, and I'm going to use that word starring because they are stars. I've got Jay and Kay from the Fuck My Work Life podcast. How are you two doing?
We're good. How are
Very
you?
good. Thank you. Much better now that
Stars.
you considered us stars. I mean, who couldn't feel better about that?
I have to say, you put me. My introductions are always a thing. I can never nail an introduction, but you put me off it completely because the second episode I'm using the soundboard. So I'm playing the intro and I just saw you two grooving along to that intro, and it just completely. I wish I was recording the video, but it completely distracted me. So you said you're both fine. I've got you, thankfully. I didn't mean that pun, but I'll take it. I've got you recording during your Thanksgiving weekend, so thank you for giving me some time. Thank you for being able to kind of roll over and be awake during during this weekend.
Yeah, I know, right?
Not in a food coma currently.
Literally roll over.
Yeah.
Like, I think I roll everywhere I go now.
I'm just
Lots of
hoping that
food.
to the left of you, Jay, that there's like a plate of food that you're just going to be tucking into.
No, there's a mimosa.
Yeah.
No food. The food is we went to Kay's family's house for Thanksgiving, and I came home with no leftovers on purpose. I left them with the leftovers, and I came home, and yesterday I got crazy in the kitchen, I guess you could say, and I smoked 2 chickens and I made stuffing, and today I'm gonna make mashed potatoes, and yeah, I made a whole nother Thanksgiving dinner basically. I just didn't want to do a turkey. One, they were all frozen, and 2, like, it's, two small chickens is good enough.
Because I was going to ask you actually, because here we see the classic dinner is a huge turkey with everything, all the sides. So is that what it literally is? You just make whatever you can, eat whatever you can.
Turkey,
Yeah.
ham, stuffing, mashed potatoes, green bean casserole, cranberry, yams.
I made mac and cheese.
Yeah. Kay made mac and cheese, which was really good.
So have you both been off for a couple of days then? So I know you get the
Mhm.
Thursday off, but do you get the Friday off, or is that depending on where you work?
Depends on where you work. Most offices get the Thursday and the Friday off, most like office type environments. Retail, of course, is not going to get the Friday off because Black Friday and all that craziness. But yeah, I think most office type environments and like government jobs.
Yeah,
and that
government
kind of
jobs.
stuff will have both days off.
I think a lot of restaurants also do. There are some restaurants that stay open, but there's also some retail locations that stay open,
Well, on the Thursday, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Black Friday, yeah. The retail
Everything's
locations,
open,
they're going to be open.
Have you partaken in Black Friday? Is there
No.
anything? No new shiny podcast equipment.
No. I bought wet food for my cats. That'll be here tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, and it was like 25% off, so that's cool.
I mean, I did a little Black Friday shopping because we were out at my mom's, and there was a thrift store, consignment, secondhand store that I wanted to check out. So we did that Friday morning. There was nobody there because it wasn't like a big retail thing, but I got 20% off of my used clothes, so I was happy with that.
Yeah, but the Black Friday thing, it's not really a thing anymore.
Yeah.
Like 15 years ago, yeah, like people went crazy on Black Friday and fought mostly
People
in
died.
Walmart. Mostly in
literally
Walmart, they were
died.
fighting over TVs.
Getting trampled alive for
But now
a TV.
you see videos of people who are like on Black Friday walking through like Best Buy or Walmart or any of those big box stores, and it's empty because everything's online now.
Yeah,
and not just that, it's like Black Friday month, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not just that day anymore. It's like Amazon, the online retailer that everyone knows. They started, I think, 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I was going to say. And Jay, I was going to say, I'm about as rock and roll as you at the moment because the only Black Friday deal I've got was on some dishwasher tablets. So that's my.
Hell yeah.
I'm living the dream.
Yeah.
I was going to say the difference always being here as well was that in the States it looked like you did it properly, like it was some really good deals, whereas here it was hardly anything off really rubbish stuff, and people still would go crazy for it here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And now, like you said, with it extending out to the week before, the week after, it's funny. We see the videos of pandemonium you get in the States, but now it's got to over here where I remember like there was a store waiting for the doors to open. Like one person came through because, like you said, everyone's online now, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah, you
start here. I feel like the day after Halloween, you start
Yep.
getting the emails for Black Friday deals, Black Friday
Yeah.
deals. And they're not like great deals like they used to be, like you said. And it's just kind of like, okay.
Do you remember when people would bring their tents
Yeah.
and camp outside of
Yeah.
the stores the night before to be the first one in on Black Friday?
But I also feel like
Yeah.
too, because it used to be for like the newest, shiniest game
Yeah.
console. And I feel
Yeah,
like, I don't know,
yeah.
I'm not a gamer, but it seems like there hasn't been like a new exciting one of those in a really long time, or like the newest technology. And it's kind of like I don't know if we've gone as far as we can with technology at this point,
No,
but
we
there's
haven't.
nothing really
They're
new and
they're
exciting.
figuring. I'm waiting for like the virtual reality to get like crazy real.
Well, now we
That's
have
when I'll
robot
camp
war
outside.
drones.
And cheap, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
Yeah,
cheap.
robot
and
wardrobe.
cheap. Yeah.
I think the whole thing though with the sales though is over here anyway is we've got this so-called Black Friday sale, and then over here you've got Boxing Day sales, so the day after Christmas, those are supposed to be. But now people know that it's January you're going to get the bigger deal, so people
Mhm.
just keep waiting. You wait, and in the end the prices just go up and then come back down to the price they were anyway, right?
Yeah. I actually
Yeah.
saw a funny video on TikTok of these people in Walmart, and they had, the signs for the prices, and it's like Black Friday deals with the price on it, and they were moving the paper with the price out of the way to the older, like regular price, and it was the same
It's the same price. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
they just put the sign, "Oh, Black Friday deal," but it's the exact same price it was before.
Yeah.
So yeah, people just like to think they're getting a bargain.
Whenever you get you two on, it digresses all over the place, which is great. But yeah, so didn't get you what you want to talk about this. So if I was to redo the introduction from 10 minutes ago, I would say I've got you on to do one of my Who's Coming to Dinner episodes. So this is the episodes I like where I get to get idea recipes from people and also get really hungry because I've always eaten just beforehand, and then you're going to tell me about some wonderful food. And then I'm just going to go get some toast or something to kind of time me out. Before we do get into that, so yeah, the Fuck My Work Life podcast, that's 3 years on, is it now?
Yeah, it'll be 3 in February.
Is it 3?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Doesn't feel that long, but yeah, 3
You
years.
too, yeah. You've probably been asked 100 times before, but I try to also have this podcast be a little bit of get to know the podcasters. So yeah, how did you start that? I mean, it was so 3 years ago. We talked about was it just before COVID or was it
No,
in
it
response?
was like a year into COVID. So, because we started in February of 2021. So yeah, so like a year, kind of almost a year into COVID. We talked about it for a while because we'd get home from work and we'd start drinking, and then we'd just start basically ranting about our job to each other. And we thought we were hilarious because we were drunk. So we're like, we should start a podcast. And originally we thought it would be people kind of writing in or whatever, ranting, about their boss or just getting stuff off their chest. And then it just kind of morphed into weird stories.
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of morphed into like the crazy stories from people's workplaces, which worked out.
Yeah. Heard a lot of strange stories.
Yep.
Yeah, you certainly have. And so was podcasting, had you ever thought about it before? Or was it just something you just said, what the hell, let's do it? Had you toyed with it before?
No.
No, I think we both listened to a lot of
Yeah.
podcasts.
Yeah, we
And
listened to a lot of podcasts, but it was never like, oh, we need to come up with a podcast that we could do. It was never like
right.
that. It was just like, seriously, we were drunk in the kitchen and like in our kitchen / dining room. And we were like, we should make a podcast. Like, fuck my life. Oh, fuck my work life. And I was just like, okay. I went online and I bought the cheapest little podcasting platform that, microphone and stands and little interface and everything. And, spent a couple $100 on that, and we started doing it, and that was that.
Yeah,
It's
we did. I
brilliant.
mean, we did some research on, how to get started and the best hosts and stuff like that to use. And then, yeah, we just kind of started, and oh man, the first couple months.
Yeah.
I mean, I still like the episodes. I think they're good, but I was so nervous before every recording. And I would get like nervous burps. And we'd have to stop. And
Yeah. And now I kind of miss it because we haven't been recording that much lately.
yeah,
And it's like getting on doing this with you and doing guest spots with other people. It's like, man, we need to record more, but our window has also like kind of narrowed.
we have a very niche
Yeah.
subject. So, it kind of gets a little bit hard if we're not getting stories in from people. It's kind of hard to stick with our topic
Yeah.
and come up with something funny, because I don't want it to be just negative bitching about work type of things. I want it to be interesting and funny. And so we're kind of just trying to figure out
Yeah.
where we go from
How we
here.
morph,
Yeah.
even further.
It's funny though, because you just kind of plow along. Like it's even me. So just under 2 years, and yeah, episodes are coming out left, right, and centre. But now I've got to the point where I'm thinking, right, well, what do I do go forwards? Because at first, I think I said to somebody that being a general podcast, you think, brilliant, I can just do about anything. But then you realize not everything is interesting or exciting to talk about. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of what do you do to keep it interesting to yourself as well as trying to make it appealing. And this is why I've kind of got you on now, because I knew you were on a bit of a mid-season break, so I thought it's the best opportunity to grab you to
Yeah.
do this. In terms of your podcast then, have you ever had stories that you've not published or not aired because you've thought to yourselves as well, yeah, we've said some crazy shit, but this one's staying in the archive?
I don't think to that end, no, where we're like, oh, we can't put this podcast out because, it's too crazy or anything like that. But I think our best podcast episode we ever did, we lost. We were hammered. And what
we took a break like 10, 15 minutes in, and I paused the recording, came back, started the podcast up again, went on for another hour. And I didn't realize until I went to edit it that I didn't hit record again.
Yeah. Yeah. So we were just talking into empty microphones. And it was so good. We were so shit hammered. Like that one, I mean, that one might have offended. I don't really remember.
I don't know.
It may have offended some people. It may have been too racy because we were so drunk.
Yeah.
That it's not very often that I drink so much that I can't remember what I said or what I did.
So it actually could have been a really bad recording, and we just thought it was really good.
It was the best ever, man.
This is what I was just going to say, Kay. I was thinking, in your heads, right, you saying, yeah, this is brilliant, but if you'd have pushed record, it would have been...
like that episode of Always Sunny where they're on stage and they think they're like singing amazingly, and then you see the reel and they're all just drunk and stupid. Yeah. But there's definitely been episodes where we'll finish and we'll be like, that was okay. And then there's some where we finish, we're like, oh yeah, that was a really good recording. And That
Yeah.
one, we were like, that was so good.
Yeah, that one, when we finished that one, we were like, man, that was the best one. And this was early. This was season 1.
Yeah, it was early
That was
on.
probably like 3 or 4 episodes into us recording.
Yeah.
And we were like, that was the best one. That was so much fun. And then the next day we were like, oh, Captain.
Yeah.
Well, the amount of times it's funny, even now, that I keep looking to make sure the count is going that I've pressed record, even though I know I've pressed it, but you keep double checking it. And it's funny what you said as well, Kay, that recently I went to listen to the first couple of my episodes, and my God, how bad or how awful and stilted I sounded. But I remember at the time thinking, "Do you know what? It's not too bad, actually." But
Yeah.
now I've gone back to it and I'm thinking, yeah, I'm actually, I keep needing to take Antonio's advice that I'm going to archive some of them off, because, yeah, if anyone ever stumbles across them, they
Yeah.
won't stick it out. So
I enjoy our first episode still, and I think it kind of eases you into our topic and our subject. Like the sound quality is absolute shit.
Yeah.
But I think, and you could tell we were a little bit nervous and we were a little kind of figuring things out, but I don't cringe that
Yeah.
bad when I listen to them. But they're still, we had a lot of learning to do in the beginning.
Yeah. Well, also our equipment was horrible.
Yeah. And I didn't really know how to edit. And,
I think I spent maybe, what was it, like $200?
I don't even think that much.
On 4 microphones, 4 stands, like the equipment that you plug everything, like I spent like $200 on it. So it sounds like when you're a kid and you have the like soup can with the string that goes to another soup can. It sounds like we hooked that up to our computer.
Yeah.
And we're talking into soup cans.
And we were on our dining room table, so there were like open spaces and things echoing, and you could hear our little dogs tippy tapping on the floor, and lots of fun stuff.
Look, 3 years down the line, this is it, the slick podcasters that we are now. That's what everybody knows.
We're so profesh.
Yeah, it sounds like, though, that you two have just got to get that bottle of whiskey out, finish that, and then see if you can recreate that episode.
Oh, man.
That's when I do my best recording.
Oh, God. That's when you want to fight, is when the whiskey comes out.
Oh, yeah. Whiskey, no. I don't drink whiskey because I'll try to fight the microphone. Like, I don't care.
So in the process of doing this, have you ever come away from a guest or some stories and was thinking, do you know what? Yeah, it'd be a lot worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot.
Who is it? Jer from
oh God.
Jer from
Neatcast.
The Neatcast, like his like disaster cleanup and working the fair, and like they're great stories, but fuck me if that was my job.
Yeah.
Like, no thank you.
Or the people that just have like awful bosses and coworkers. Like, we bitch about our work a lot, but
yeah,
it's not that bad. I'm mostly just pissed at the fact that I have to work.
Yeah.
But
I bitch about my job, but I've also been there 16 years. So how bad is it really? Or how stupid am I really?
But yeah, there's definitely some stories where it's just like, oh God, thank God that's not us.
I think you hit the nail on the head. Most people moan about it because it's the fact of working rather than just being able to podcast all day or go out all day. But some of the stories you get is, and I know I said it last time you were on, and I will continue to say it every time you're on. I'm just literally shaking my head at when I'm listening to your podcast, because it's just amazing. It's just amazing. But there's all sorts of environments, offices, and workplaces out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if you're in one of them, get in contact with J&K.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Right. So, are you ready to host a dinner party for me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I have 1 minute?
No.
Yeah. Well, we're going to play an advert now anyway. So let's hear from Antonio and Diane over at The MILF and Me.
Face it, dating sucked in your 20s, gets worse in your 30s, and your 40s, forget it.
It's a cesspool out there, and we're your flotation device.
Join us weekly for saucy chat, ridiculous love gurus,
and MILF-worthy fun to spice up your life.
The MILF and Me Podcast. Every Wednesday on your favorite pod platform.
And the MILFandMePod.com.
The MILF and Me Podcast.
Right, so we are back. Who's coming to dinner? You know the rules, and I know you know the rules because I've sent them to you about 3 times, I think. So I kept forgetting I had done. So from each of you, I want 1 course, so the classic starter, main, and dessert. I want a celeb introduced at each of those, and if you've got a drink, I'll take that. But yeah, so happy for you to start in any order you want in terms of 2 of you, but. Oh, and I'm guest number 1. That's always the same. So, yeah.
Okay. So do you want us to each share, we'll each share our starter, we'll each share our main, or do you want Jay to go through his whole meal and then me to go through my whole meal? Are we going to have a whole...
Do a course at the same time each.
Okay.
So, yeah. So...
Okay.
All right. You want
You
to
can
go
go first.
Okay, I'll go first. All right. So I'm bringing the veg vibes to this dinner party. So the first course that I'm going to serve is my leek and potato soup with a nice crusty hunk of bread to go along with it. Maybe a glass of Prosecco,
Nice,
a nice slice crisp Prosecco to go along with this soup. I love this soup so much. I make it for Jay a couple times a year, and it's creamy and it's got a little
really
kick to it.
It's a classic combination, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. And I'm inviting to this course. I don't know if you would call her a celebrity, but she's a celebrity to me. Her name is Adrienne Mishler, and she does Yoga with Adrienne on YouTube. And basically, I've spent almost every day with her for the past 5 years doing yoga in my living room, watching her. So I would really like to meet her in person and just have a nice Zen little starter course conversation with her. Thank her for giving me basically free yoga for 5 years. And just pick her brain a little bit because she's just real down to earth, and she has a huge following on YouTube. And I think because she's doesn't take herself too seriously and really makes yoga accessible to a lot of different people. So I really admire her, and I'd love to spend, some time just picking her brain.
It's funny, isn't it? Because just like podcasts as well, YouTube, when you're watching someone for that long a time in your own house, it does feel there's that element, when I say personal, but do you know what I mean? It does feel like it's an everyday part of your life then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I ran into her in real life, I'd be like, "Hey, Adrienne," and she'd be like, "Who the hell are you?"
Yeah.
But you feel like you know the person when I literally see her every day, basically. So, yeah.
Jay, do you partake in the yoga?
No. No. I'm good. I just bitch about my pain and
yeah. And
move
I'm like,
on.
"You should stretch. You should do some yoga." And he's like, "Yeah, I should," but then he doesn't.
Yeah. Give me a beer.
Yeah, I'm getting to the stage of life and all the injuries that I think I need to start. So I might check her out. And yeah, you should tag her in when we get this episode out. You never know.
Yeah.
Get in contact.
I love you, Adrienne.
And yeah, the actual starter itself, then yeah, leek potato classic, and you can't beat homemade soup as well, right?
Oh God, I love soup so much. I make a lot of different soups. I've been making lasagna soup lately, which is
it's
so
really good.
good.
Yeah.
Lasagna soup. That's
the exact face that when I told people at work that Kay had made lasagna soup, the exact face they made was like the eye scrunch, like what?
Yeah, no,
The fuck is that?
so good. So you ground whatever protein you want to ground. I use non-meat proteins. And then you add a jar of tomato sauce, spices, garlic, of course, onions, and then you can have whatever vegetables you want, and then a bunch of broth, and then you just break up the chunks of the lasagna noodles into smaller pieces and cook it in the soup. Oh man, it's
really good.
Jay's
so
head nodding.
Good.
It's really good.
It's so good. But
Oh,
yeah,
that
soup.
sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
And
soup.
it doesn't like it. You would think that because it's soup, it would take away from like the lasagna flavor, like the cheeses and the meats and all. And it doesn't at all. Like it tastes like lasagna.
It does. It's so good.
It's really good.
When you first said lasagna soup, it's like always whenever people say things like that episode of Friends where Rachel's cooking and she gets the trifle recipe stuck to the shepherd's pie recipe. That's what I have in my head.
Then the layer of ground beef in the trifle. Yeah.
Yeah. But, oh no, that sounds amazing.
Good.
Yeah. I think I need to. Yeah, because my wife makes a lot of soups as well, and it's great because you've got like the creamy soups, the vegetable soups, like the broth based soups as well, and they're all different. Some she'll chuck a load of chicken in, and then it becomes almost or pasta, and it becomes like a full meal in itself. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
because I remember when I've said to people at work, "Oh, we're having soup tonight," and it's like, oh, a face, and it's like, yeah, but it's what you put in it. It's not a tin soup. It's
right.
Yeah, excellent. No, that's a cracking starter. I'm now thinking towards the end of this, do I rate the meal? But I'm not sure I should choose a favourite out of you two because I love you both. So
it'll be well rounded between the two of us, I think.
Yeah. Mine has absolutely no vegetables in it.
Oh, well, I think already you've got a point there from me. So okay, no, solid start there. Solid start. So Jay, what about you?
So for my starter, it's going to be there's a few different things. So I'm going to make pork belly burn-ins and also smoked shotgun shells. If you would like me to elaborate on those, I can.
Sorry, could you just say that again? What they smoked?
Shotgun shells.
I think you're going to have to elaborate on those.
Yeah.
I'm just sorry. I was just writing it down. I'm just about to say, yeah. So yeah, I definitely need to know what that is.
So the smoked shotgun shell is ground beef and hot Italian sausage mixed together with Monterey Jack cheese and sharp cheddar cheese, and then stuffed inside of a manicotti shell. And then the shell is wrapped in bacon, and then it is seasoned and smoked for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, just till everything's cooked. And then the last like 15 minutes, you glaze it, and it's a glaze with barbecue sauce, honey, apple habanero glazing sauce, brown sugar, and a little bit of the seasoning that you seasoned it with. And you basically bring that to a simmer in a pan and then glaze the shotgun shells and just let them go for like 15, 20 minutes to let it tack up a little bit. And then I cut them into little pieces so they're like little bites you can eat with like a toothpick. It will change your entire life.
And your heart health.
I'm actually crying here because that's beautiful. That sounds amazing. All I was thinking here is based on kind of what you were saying as well, Kay, with your lasagna soup, is you two need to write a recipe book here because that just sounds heavenly.
Yeah, I made them last week. It's I'm not lying. They will change your life.
I was going to ask how often you make them. I mean, like you said, yeah, it probably takes a week off your life each time you eat them.
No, it actually, like, stuffing the shells takes a while. This time I think I got 2 pounds of Italian sausage and 2 pounds of ground beef, and so it took me probably an hour and a half to stuff all of the shells and then wrap them in bacon. But the cook time for it is like, an hour and a half tops.
Yeah. Wow.
Just to clarify, you were bringing those in to work to share with a bunch of people.
Yeah.
That wasn't like 4 pounds of meat.
No, it wasn't just me eating it. No, I was bringing it in for work and feeding it to people at work.
Oh, I wish I worked with you.
Jay loves to cook for the masses.
I do. I do.
That sounds amazing. And for me, the minute you said like that Italian hot sausage, because I know that is one of my favorite foods as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so that in amongst everything else, oh my word, that's a starter. Yeah, that is a starter and a half. So flavorsome.
I don't make them that often just because it makes so much.
Yeah.
You know, it makes so much food that I look, I don't mind. I actually enjoy cooking things and bringing them into work and having people try different things, but I'm not cooking for those people all the time. Like it's not what I'm about.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you know,
Oh
I
dear.
bring food in when I know that, like, if I ate all of this, I I'm hospital bound because my cholesterol would just spike,
Hmm.
you know. And my guest, because I don't think I got to that, my guest is going to be Drew Brees, which
Mm.
is the American football quarterback from the New Orleans Saints, which I'm a huge Drew Brees fan. I'm a huge Saints fan. And you know, he retired probably a few years ago. I think it was before COVID that he retired. I can't remember. But he's definitely a first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback. And he was never like, he was always so good and so disciplined, but also humble. Like, he
Mm.
did a lot for the city of New Orleans. Like, he donated a lot of his time and a lot of his money, and he was just a good person. You know, he didn't let the fame separate him from normal people, because a
Yeah,
lot of,
yeah.
you know, a lot of famous people, they do that. They let their fame, their notoriety, make them think that they're separate from people like us, and they're not. You know, like,
Mm.
you're still a person. You still need to be a person.
Yeah.
I would bring him just to have a conversation with him. There's nothing specific I would want to know. It's just someone I'd want to talk to, because, you know, he was so successful, and you know, like, you want to meet those people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sport is something that is what is yeah, you can almost chart periods of your life as well through sport and sporting events, can't you? It's very personal. I did an episode a couple of weeks ago with Adam from Decaying with the Boys and Josh from Talking Smack, and we did about those moments that live on, and it is things that you can track back to, yeah, certain points in my life anyway. So no, I get that. I get that. And some of the stars you want to meet kind of goes back to Kay, you know, watching Adrian do the YouTube all the time. It feels personal when you see your quarterback, your striker, whatever sport it is. You're watching them week in, week out, season in, season out for 10 years, whatever. Yeah, I get
Yeah.
that. So, okay, that's a good start there as well. That's a good start there as well. Okay, do you want to move on to the main?
Yeah. So for my main dish, I'm going to be serving a mushroom ravioli in a garlic sage sauce, and with a little arugula slash rocket salad on the side with a champagne mustard vinaigrette. And I'm gonna pair this with a light lager, and since we're eating Italian food, maybe like a Peroni, you know,
Good
Peroni beer,
choice.
some sort of Italian, lager beer. And
Nostra Azzurra.
yeah, I can't
Yeah.
say it. Nastro Azzurro.
Nostra.
Yeah.
Azzurro.
Nostra Azzurra.
Our Italian sucks. Um, and I'm inviting to this meal my favorite author of all time. His name is Christopher Moore, and he writes just really weird, satirical horror slash comedy slash just weird. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but he's so funny. His writing is so absurd. I think he would be hilarious to share a meal with and just make us laugh and be weird. And like, he wrote my favorite book of all time, which is called Lamb, the Gospel According to Biff, Christ's childhood best friend. And it's ridiculous and so funny. And he also has like vampire novels and all kinds of crazy stuff. And yeah, I think he would be just a hoot and a half to share a meal with and just pick his brain.
Yeah, authors are a good one, aren't they? Because you kind of really want to say to them, and this book, where was the inspiration for that? And this character, what do you think
Mhm.
they'd be doing now?
Yeah, and his humor is just right up my alley, just so weird and so satirical and so witty, and I love it so much. So, I'm not a huge reader. I wish I could have more time to read, but every book I've read of his, I've just instantly loved. So,
Yeah, no, I get that. I used to love reading. I don't have I don't have time. I believe I don't have the time to read now because I'm doing other things. But it's yeah, like you said though, it's when you find that author you like, you
mhm.
then just go full in, don't you, on those
Yeah.
books?
Mhm.
Okay, okay. And yeah, the main as well, I like that. Ravioli. Can't go wrong with
Mhm.
that. That's a classic. And yeah, yeah, mushroom. I don't mind mushroom mixed in with pasta and sauce like that. I'm not a huge mushroom fan, but when it's in ravioli.
Oh, I love mushrooms.
Thank you for the arugula / rocket side salad. Because
Yeah.
we had a debate and that in our WhatsApp chat, didn't we, a little while ago?
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay, yeah, and like I say, no, again, that's a very solid choice. It's a very solid choice. Jay, over to you.
All right. So for my main course, I'm going to keep it very American. Not even American, just very, I guess, traditional. I don't. So it's going to be a reverse seared ribeye. So I will put the ribeye on a smoker for about 45 minutes and then I will sear it. A lot of times for a long time you would sear a steak first and then slow cook it. I'm going to do the reverse because it's better with a side of grilled asparagus and mashed potatoes, garlic mashed potatoes.
Mm.
That sounds, again, like you said, traditional but tasty. Yeah.
Very good. It's very good. And the person who I am going to bring, his name is Jocko Willink. He is uh, he's not famous in the sense, he's not a celebrity in the sense that uh most people think of celebrities. He's not a movie star. He he is a ex Navy SEAL. He has written a book and started a company called Echelon Front. The book is called Extreme Ownership, and it's basically a leadership book that he wrote that I listened to. I actually have the book in hardback cover, but I've listened to the book on Audible. I listen to it probably twice a year, and it's just a way of moving through life and the things that you do in a way that also encompasses the people around you. And he wrote this book after he got out of the military. And when you think of Navy SEALs, he was an officer and he was the lead officer in a company in a like a Navy SEAL team, and they were in Fallujah, Iraq. And when you think of like the leadership in those positions, every decision you make in a situation like that can affect so many people, and not just affect in their feelings or how how they're going to move through their day. They're either going to live or they're going to die. And when you have to make those decisions, it is going to give you a different perspective on every other decision you make in life. And he's, for years, I've wanted to meet him, and I think having him for the main course, I would just want to learn from him because he's been in situations that I've never been in and will never be in, but he's been in those situations and he's made decisions that change the course of people's lives. And I think that's something everyone can learn from.
And it's really important what you said because, I've been in offices where people are, you're working on something. People will joke, say, "Oh, it's not a life or death decision," this or that. But you forget that there are jobs out there or roles out there where they do make life and death
Mhm.
decisions like that, and you think
Yeah.
what must go through their minds when they're making those
Yeah.
decisions.
And I think when people say it's not a life and death decision when they're talking about their normal work, no, it's not. But what if
What if it was?
What if you approached
Yeah.
it as if it was?
Mm.
You know, like maybe the decisions you make, you know, wouldn't affect the people who you work with as much if you actually thought it through and made that decision. Not saying like this person's going to die if I don't refill the coffee filters, you know, but like, you know, you
But
make,
your decisions affect people's lives.
yes, your decisions
yeah.
affect
Yeah.
everyone around you, especially when it comes to a place where we are
Most of
a
our
lot of
waking
times
hours.
more than we're home,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's like those decisions affect everyone around you. And if you thought of it in a manner of like a life or death decision, maybe there would be less chaos, you know, because I see a lot of people in the workplace who they go out of their way to try to get other people in
Rile
trouble,
up, yeah.
fired,
Yeah.
you know, and it's like, hey, like maybe take a step back and you know, like how did what they do affect you, and
Exactly.
how is what you're gonna do affect them? You know, it's just a better way to think.
Yeah.
And I think on the opposite end of that, like you were saying, Dan, if you're not making those major decisions that could affect people, to keep reminding yourself that this is not life or death when you're on the opposite end, because I myself try to tell myself this all the time, because I let everything affect me to my core at work.
Yeah.
And it's like, sometimes I'm just like, you know what? There are people that have had it so much worse in life, and this is just a job, and it's not life or death. And I just gotta let this go.
Yeah.
And trying to cling to that on the opposite end. But I agree with what you're saying too. If people making those decisions thought a little bit more about how it affected people, I think it'd make a more harmonious workplace.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
And it's interesting, isn't it, that sometimes a lot of these books or like leadership mentors and talks do come from people that have either been in the military or have come from a really tough background. It's often, you know, you expect sometimes some of these books or these ways of thinking to come from the business world. Like you said, Jay, I think it's people who have been through some serious shit as well and have seen some
Yeah.
things, and it's just you take that application and you apply that elsewhere. But could we who've been deciding on, should we make decision A or B at work, if you then had to transfer that to like a military or medical background, it'd be a lot harder for us.
Yeah.
Transfer that. But okay, so thank you for that, Jay. Okay, so let's hear your final course.
Okay, so my final course, I'm gonna make a rum cake with some raspberries and some fresh coconut whipped cream to accompany it. It's very boozy, it's custardy, it's delicious.
Sounds like it.
And and then I'm gonna pair this with a cocktail. This is my new favorite cocktail. It's called the Red Queen, and it's gin, elderflower liqueur, lime juice, and cranberry juice, and you shake it up with some ice, and you pour it in a coupe glass, and it's delicious, and it's sweet, so I think it would go good with the rum cake. And I'm inviting, I changed who I was going to invite to this course multiple times, and there was like a few actors and actresses. And then when I was really thinking about it, and I was like, why am I inviting them? Just because I like a TV show they're on, but like, what would I talk to them about? And I couldn't think of anything other than, hey, I really liked you in that show. So I changed it a few times, but I settled on a comedian named Fortune Feimster. Her stand-up is really funny. We went and saw her live a couple years ago in San Diego, and it was such a good time. And she has a podcast where, like everybody has a podcast, but I really like hers because, first of all, she stayed independent. So she didn't like hop on some, big podcast, what are they called? Network or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's usually just her. Oftentimes her mom will jump on, and she's just really down to earth, really genuine and sweet and caring, and hilarious. So I think she would be so fun to just like sit down and talk about her life and share stories and, have a good laugh. So yeah, I'm inviting Fortune Feimster to my dessert. And she loves dessert, so
Yeah. It's a real interesting mix of people you've got there. But I'm going to come back to that after. And a good old rum cake to finish. So like you said, yeah, boozy finish to the meal. Yeah, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong.
Booze and sugar.
So yeah, and what you were saying about sort of debating who to invite, and like the TV world, etc. But with comedian, is stand-up comedy something you like generally? I find that can be really, what's the word? Well, here we say Marmite, which is something people either love or hate. So I kind of get that with stand-up comedy, isn't it? It can be hit and miss.
Yeah.
Like a Marmite sandwich.
Is that like Vegemite? Is that the same thing?
Yeah, it's kind of like Vegemite. That's
Yeah.
So you kind of know what I'm saying. Over here, it's literally there's no down the middle. People say they either hate it and really hate it, or they love
Yeah.
it. So that's why we say
Yeah.
something's Marmite over here. Yeah.
Yeah, if the right ones. Yeah, I mean, we don't go to a lot of live stand-up, but we watch a lot of like the Netflix specials that come out, and there are certainly ones where we'll start to watch, and I'm just like, I'm out. I'm not into this person, or
usually the ones that I watch.
but yeah, I like a good witty stand-up, and or like the ones where they're just telling crazy stories, personal stories that are just happen to be hilarious. Like who's the one recently we've been into? Nate Bargatze.
Yeah, Nate Bargatze.
I think he's hilarious.
Yeah, he's funny.
So yeah, it's hit or miss with me, I think, for stand-up comedy.
I'll watch any of them. I'll watch any stand-up comedian, and if I'm into it, I'm into it. If I'm not, I still watch. I just don't laugh. I just sit there and stare at the TV.
It becomes uncomfortable for me at that point where it's not funny, and watching it you're like embarrassed for the person doing it. And it's just
I definitely get that feeling, but also when I get that feeling, like when I'm watching a stand-up comic who is just bombing, I want to see, like, can they recover? Can they rein this in? Can they reel it back? Or is like their whole hour-long set just going to be shit and they don't care?
But they somehow got a special on TV.
Yeah, there's actually, in the local area where I live, there's a guy that runs a number of comedy clubs every couple of months. He goes around the towns, and yeah, the majority of them, they're generally brilliant. But yeah, I couldn't do that. I could not do that. Go up on stage, and it's whether they get you. It's almost like whether they can get you in that first 30 to 60 seconds, and it feels like if you do, you're with them the whole thing. But if you don't, then it takes a while to try to warm up to them. It's so difficult.
And you also have to remember that the stand-up, by the way, like the person I'm bringing to dessert is also a stand-up comic. So we didn't discuss our guests with each other. So I didn't know who she was bringing. She didn't know who I'm bringing. But you have to remember that, like these Netflix specials or the Amazon specials or any of these stand-up comic specials, this is months and months of work that these comics do.
Error,
this isn't just they get up on stage and they do it. So when I say, like, I'll watch these comedians and see if they can like rein it in, a lot of what I watch is like on YouTube or on TikTok or on one of the social medias where they're at the clubs, like
working their
testing
material.
out working their material, seeing how it hits and adjusting it. So when they get that Netflix special, this is tuned and refined, and this is 6-8 months, a year of them touring the country or touring the world, doing these jokes and just tweaking them a little here and tweaking them a little there. So I can't really say I've ever watched a like Netflix special where I was like, oh, how are they going to bring this back? Because by that time they've got it worked out.
And there's some sort of audience, whether it's your thing or not. There's an audience for it. Yeah.
But there are times where I watch Netflix specials and I'm like, all right, well, I just like it doesn't make me feel uncomfortable. I just don't think it's funny.
Yeah.
This isn't funny.
Mine stems from when I lived in LA. I had a friend who would host an open mic comedy night at a restaurant in the Valley that we would go to almost every week. And it was the people that were just, trying to become a stand-up comedian. Most of them were so uncomfortable, and you're in this small restaurant and you had to give the courtesy laughs just because they're up there and it's hard getting up in front of people, but it's so bad and you're like because you just want them to not feel bad.
Well, it's like you're looking around and you don't want them to feel bad, but you don't want to be the only one laughing, right? Because then everyone's going to look at you and say, why is she laughing?
Yeah.
It is interesting what you were saying as well, Jay. So at one of the ones I went to, this comedy, there was this guy, he's a TV presenter here, young guy, and he was honing his act. And he literally was, he admitted, he said, look, I'm just trying out some material. And he had a little book and he was literally going through the book and he would mark him down, this is a hit, this isn't a hit. And like you said, they must go through it all. And then, to flip to the other side. So about a month ago, a friend of mine asked me to go see a comedian in the town over, Jimmy Carr. Went to see him, and that was what we didn't know was it was being filmed for a Netflix special. And at the end there were a couple of re-records of transitions, etc. And you think, even that, to get that down, and it would be interesting to see some of the jokes if they're going to make it into the final cut, because some of them, even I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
So that would be fun to see. But fair play to them. Just can do it. It feels brutal. It feels brutal. So
it takes a lot of guts to get up there and do that.
Yeah, I don't think I could do it. I think I could get up there and do it, but as soon as I bombed, I'd be done.
I would just cry.
I would not be able to recover, and I bet a lot of stand-up comedians think that way. Like, oh man, if I bomb, but there's also those stand-up comedians that
don't care.
Like, they don't care. Like, they'll look straight at the crowd and be like, what, this joke's not tracking? Like, none of you have gone through this before.
But they also probably have a thick skin, at that point where they've gone through it so much, they're just used to it. But yeah.
Well, when I was in Vegas this year, and Antonio came over, and me and him went to a comedy club that night, and I found that hilarious, but we were quite drunk as well. Well, I was, and part of that was because we got the Fat Tuesday after you told us to, and then when we were there, it was free entry, but you had to buy a couple of drinks, and then we just got a few more during it. And I think I was probably the loudest one, but at the end of it, I don't remember any of it. The thing I just remember, I really enjoyed it at the time. That's amazing, right? Okay, Jay, how are you finishing the meal off?
So I'm going to finish the meal with a homemade apple pie, vanilla ice cream, and a side of candied bacon.
You can't not have meat in a dish.
You're not supposed to.
Candied bacon. Okay.
Yeah, candied bacon. So, have you ever had candied bacon?
Do you know? I don't think I have. No, I don't think I have.
So, candied bacon is where, like, you take a thick cut of bacon, and you don't fry it in a pan. You put it in the oven, and you cook it in the oven, but you cover it with, like, some people will like spice up brown sugar, and kind of like pack the bacon in brown sugar, and as it cooks, that brown sugar melts down and then it hardens, and so it's like candied bacon. So you bite into it, and it's like biting into a piece of candy, but there's bacon in the middle. There's multiple
Okay,
different ways that
okay.
people do it. Like I would probably just kind of like make a glaze like I did for the smoked shotgun shells and cover it in that glaze and let that glaze cook. So the bacon wouldn't be like crunchy when you bite into it, like have that crunchy shell of the stuff over it.
Yeah.
But it would be very sweet because there's a lot of sugars and like honey and brown sugar and and other stuff. You're basically covering bacon in sugar. Let's be honest. You're spicing up, you're putting spices and sugar and you're covering bacon and you're letting the sugar melt. And then when it cools, it hardens and it's candied bacon.
So you're gonna like sprinkle that on top of the pie and the
Oh
ice
no,
cream?
you're gonna eat that with your fingers
Okay.
after you finish the pie or before you finish the pie. Or
But it could be a good like salty sweet mix,
I like the idea of it, but I just think it wouldn't probably work over here with our bacon. I'm thinking with your bacon, it is probably fine. So if you've seen our bacon,
yeah. We call
Like
it
ham?
Canadian bacon here.
or is that
That's
what
what we call
you
it.
call it?
What do we call it?
Yeah. Canadian bacon.
Oh, Canadian. So
Canadian
basically
bacon,
like
so it's
ham,
like ham.
kind of.
Yeah, it's kind of like a ham.
It's
or
not
gammon
made
or
from
yeah.
the pork belly. It's made from a different part of the
It's more the meat. It's
Yeah.
it's more section of meat. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
But I have to say,
a like a
I do love your
tenderloin.
bacon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't not love our bacon.
Oh, when I come over there, it's great. It's great. I mean, bacon anyway, right? Again, a nice, apart from the candied bacon, but a nice traditional homemade meal there. Yeah. Dessert there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So who's sharing that with us?
I am bringing a stand-up comic, and his name is Bill Burr.
Oh, I love Bill Burr.
I fucking love Bill Burr. That guy rants better than anyone I've ever heard, and he can get up on stage for an hour and a half and just rant and have you in stitches the whole time. But he's also like, a lot of the shit he rants about is like, there's a hint of he really feels this way, but a lot of it is like,
tongue in cheek.
How far can I take this? How far can I take this? And I think nowadays his comedy is like, how many of you can I offend in this 1 hour? Because I don't give a shit. I'm going to say what I want, and I love that about him. And he's done really well with his comedy. Like nowadays with the cancel culture and everything, like I thought, I was like, it's only a matter of time before they cancel Bill Burr. It's only a matter of time because he goes off and it just doesn't work. I think he's hit a point in his comedy where people are like, just don't even try. He doesn't give a shit. Like he doesn't care. Just don't even try to make him go away because it's not going to happen. What do they call that? He's reached the escape velocity of comedy.
Yeah, it's and that's kind of what I was thinking about earlier, and I meant to say is, again, with the stand-up comedians, I guess they also tread a fine line at the moment in terms of how true do they stick to their comedy belief system, for want of a better term. I don't, if you know what I mean, or tailoring it to what they think they should be saying. Yeah.
And I also think with Bill Burr, if you look at his personal life, he doesn't tread that fine line in his personal life. Like he says shit up on stage when he's doing comedy, and that's his comedy. And then his personal life, he's not cheating on his wife. He's not beating his kids. He's not doing things where they can say, oh, look, his comedy is this, but he acts the same way in real life. So this is why he should go away. His comedy is one thing, but in his personal life, he's just a normal person like the rest of us who doesn't,
he's not an asshole.
He's not an asshole.
Yeah. With a lot of TV celebrities, that's sometimes getting hard to say, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a rabbit hole we won't go down just here. Not
Yeah,
yet, anyway.
that could be a whole other episode.
Okay. So interesting. So the question I normally ask once everyone's said everything is, Do you think the guests are going to get on with each other? It feels like a good mix.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I feel
I
like
think they will.
even though we didn't talk about it, all of ours kind of matched up, right? Our first one, yours was an
Yeah.
athlete. Mine was like, I mean, not an athlete, but like fitness.
Yeah.
Our second ones were authors.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then our last ones were stand-up comedians.
Stand-up comedians, yeah.
That's amazing.
And I'm
That really is.
pretty sure Fortune Feimster and Bill Burr know each other.
Oh,
I
yeah.
guarantee they know each
They
other.
probably know each other. So they're
Yeah.
gonna have a good old time. I think it's a good mix of people. I think they'd
Yeah.
all have some good conversation.
Yeah, no, I think it is a really amazing mix between the two of you, especially like your first choice, Kate, of Adrian Michelin, and your second one, Jocko Willink, in terms of kind of what they do in terms of helping people as well, generally. And
Mhm.
yeah, I think that's it's a really good mix. Will they get on with me? I hope so, considering I'm going to be first in the door. So.
How could anyone not get along with you, Dan?
Yeah.
Bless you. I tell you what, though, I'm eating both of these meals. there is, yeah, it's a draw. I'm putting it down the middle. I mean, if I had to go for one, I think it's those shotgun shells. Did you call it?
I'm telling
Smoked
you,
shotgun.
they will change your
Yes.
life.
I've got to meet you somehow. I've got to meet you.
Come over, Jay will cook for you.
Yeah. Come to California. I'll look. Now look, I know you love the shotgun shells, but don't turn your nose up to the pork belly burn-ins, because
Oh, you didn't really talk
Mm.
about those.
I didn't really talk about those too much, but those are like those will absolutely change your life.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I just all I'm doing now, I'm looking here and thinking, I think Kay's, I feel like I could eat that and enjoy the rest of the night. Jay, I think I'll be sleeping the rest of the
Yeah.
night. I think with yours.
Yeah, that's a point. Yeah.
There's a lot of carbs in my meal, but it's still kind of light. You know, it's still
Yeah, she brings the carbs, I bring the protein.
Perfect meals there. So I did want to throw a couple of other things at you. I did say kind of one related to your pod. Is there a TV or film office environment or work environment or like a workforce that you would love to have a meal with?
For me, 100% the IT crowd. I want to
Okay.
Moss and
Oh man.
was his name Richmond? The vampire in the closet, and Jen and
Oh,
Roy.
yes, yeah.
They're all just so silly. I would love to spend a couple days sharing a meal or just spending a day in their office.
It's a good choice. That's a good
A
choice.
work crowd that I would want to spend the day with. The guys from Yellowstone.
Oh, I've not watched
Like
that yet, but okay.
ranchers.
It's
okay.
not an office setting. It's like
Yeah.
you're riding horses and
You're a cowboy.
I'm a cowboy. Yeah, I'd like to spend a day with those guys.
Working the land.
Well, watch them working. I don't know if I'd work with them, but I'd watch them work.
Yeah. And well, your menu feels like that would suit that as well.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I think you fit
I
right
would
in.
change their life also.
Okay, and I said this is I'm not entirely sure. This is either going to go out the week before or after Christmas, but basically in the festive period. So I've got to ask a couple of the classics. So which Christmas film would we be watching after the meal?
What is it? A Christmas Story?
Do you want to watch The Christmas Story?
Is that the one where he gets his tongue stuck to the
Yeah,
pole?
yeah.
Yeah, that one. That's a classic. That's a Christmas
that one?
classic movie. A Christmas Story?
You've never seen
Seen
A
that?
Christmas Story?
I'm going to have to look this up now. When you said
They
the
play
tongue
it-
stuck to the pole, I thought you were thinking of Dumb and Dumber. That's it.
It came out in the 80s?
Yeah, it was the 80s.
I think it was the 80s, but it plays 24 hours a day here at Christmas time.
Oh, I've not seen that.
Oh my
Okay,
gosh. You got to watch it. It's
Damn.
Okay, well-
it's real cute.
How dare you?
I'm going to play a different movie though, cuz I have a Christmas movie and I know it gets a lot of hate in the world, but I don't care. I love it with all my heart, and it's a Christmas tradition, is Love Actually.
Do you know, that's another one I haven't seen actually.
What?
Yeah.
That's a British one too.
I know. It's just it feels a bit too rom-commy for me. That's the only thing.
It is.
It is.
It's very rom-commy, but I still love it so much. It's stupid, but I love it.
Yep, it's stupid.
Well, do you know what? I'm going to add those to the list because we were never necessarily Christmas film watchers, but in the last few years, we've really got into it. So, yeah, I'm going to add these two, especially as I haven't seen it. I've just had a look at Christmas Story. Is it upbeat? They're not sad or anything, is it? Well, I know Love Actually is comedic, isn't it? In bits.
Yeah. Like Love Actually has its moments, but for the most part, it's comedic. Christmas Story is funny.
Yeah, A Christmas Story's funny. Look,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. It's not like it's a great movie. A Christmas Story is not
it's
a great
just-
movie.
It's a classic.
film
It's a
for you, yeah.
classic.
Yeah.
And, you have to watch it.
Yeah. There are some films, it doesn't matter whether it's Christmas or not, they can be slated to hell, but they mean something or they've got that something for you. My Christmas films are, again, they're not necessarily, well, it depends who you speak to. The first one's very Marmite, again, if we use that term, is I love Jingle All the Way.
I don't
Have
think
you
I've
not seen
seen that one.
I don't think I've
hold
seen
on,
it.
can I get
I
that?
know of it, but I don't think I've ever
that
seen it.
outrage back at you? I love that film. And it's just it's so corny.
Oh,
and
is that the one? I'm
They're
sorry.
like trying to get the same toy or something.
Yeah, it's got Sinbad in
Okay.
it.
Yeah,
and-
yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I have seen that. Well, a long time ago, but I have seen it.
I just love that. And the other one is a Muppet Christmas Carol, which I
that's
always
a
laugh
good
at.
one.
Yeah, because there are so many classic versions of that story, but I love the Muppet one. That's the one I like.
I
I
don't
love
think
it,
I've ever
dude.
seen that.
Oh, it's a good one. The Muppets.
Oh, do it this year. I'll watch A Christmas Story. You watch that. We'll come back in the new year. We'll talk to each other.
Okay.
About
All
it.
right.
We'll do a review. There you go. We'll do a review on it.
Perfect. Yeah, I'd love
Yeah,
to hear
and-
your take on Christmas Story because it's very like middle America in the 50s or 60s family story. So it'd be interesting to get your take on it.
Okay, yeah, and Antonio and Justin, watch out because Jay and I are coming for your movie reviewing crown there. Yeah. Okay, and in terms of Christmas songs or carols, are you too into that? Are there some favourite songs you'd have playing in the background?
I like Christmas music, but in very, very small doses.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I like Christmas music on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. And there are some good ones, but we recently discovered some channels on YouTube that play dark Christmas music. So it's like
Oh, yeah.
orchestra Christmas music, but it's got this like dark kind of sinister
Yeah, this-
undertone to
yeah,
it.
this
And I've been
undertone to it.
really enjoying that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have that playing on in the background.
I
Okay.
am not a huge Christmas music fan. I only like one person
Mm.
who does Christmas music, and that's Michael Bublé. So a certain song, no, like I don't know, what's this song? Santa Baby? Is that a song?
It is a song.
Yeah.
I'll be home for Christmas.
Yeah, I'll Be Home for Christmas. He's got a few different versions of that one. That one's pretty good. Yeah,
Yeah, Mickey Bubbles, as we call him over here. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do like
Mickey
him as well.
Bubbles.
Yeah, he's actually, I just seen he's starring in one of our supermarket Christmas adverts this year. So they've
really?
got him. Yeah. No. Michael Bublé, can't go wrong with that. Again, it feels like one of those people you just can't hate.
Right.
Nobody should,
Yeah.
inoffensive, not in your face.
Mhm. He's funny too. Like
Yes,
occasionally his TikToks pop up in my feed and he's
Yeah.
funny and like makes fun of himself, which I like.
And you've given me perfect menus, but is there something specific Christmas that you eat? You don't have to go through the whole thing, like that's 3 courses, but is there something that for you is, if you don't have that, it's not Christmas?
No.
No, I
Our-
mean,
Like traditionally the Christmas meal is very similar to the Thanksgiving meal in America. I like the years when my family's like, we're doing Mexican food for Christmas, and that's like my favorite kind of Christmas meal.
I tell some of the people that I work with that if I don't have tamales, my Christmas just wasn't Christmas. But I only tell them that because I want them to bring me tamales.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Love it.
We made tamales a few years ago.
Yeah,
and it spent all day making
Yeah,
tamales, and they were
and
good.
never again.
No, it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. That's why I tell them.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah,
haven't
yeah.
had tamales. So
And someone inevitably brings some tamales.
Oh yeah, they bring me. Multiple people bring me tamales. I just have a face where I can give you the puppy dog eyes and be like, "Oh."
But you also bring them things like shotgun shells
Yeah.
throughout the year.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, it's,
Yeah. No, you've earned it. You've earned it.
yeah.
I think that's a really good point, Kay, actually, that you do have Thanksgiving so close to Christmas as well. And they feel like very similar then in terms of size and
Mhm.
scope,
Mhm.
right? So, yeah,
Yeah.
you see, we don't. So we go through the whole year. We don't really, it's just Easter, you have a big meal, and Christmas. We don't have anything really
Mhm.
in between.
Yeah. What's a traditional like UK Christmas meal?
Well, if you're going tradition, it is turkey with roast potatoes and parsnips and stuffing. But I don't really, I don't go for turkey. So me and the wife, it'll be chicken, things like that. You know,
Mhm.
we'll do something
Yeah.
different. We'll have Yorkshire pudding. The Christmas thing, the thing for me is not Christmas without them, is pigs in blankets.
Okay.
So for
Mhm.
us, although I've learned pigs in a blanket over there is something different. So, but for us is the little sausages wrapped in bacon. So I
Ah,
don't know
okay.
if, yeah.
So-
Ours here is like
sounds
usually
good.
some kind of pastry.
Yeah,
with
yeah,
the-
yeah.
yeah.
Just like sausages wrapped in a pastry. Yeah.
We were just listening to your episode with your guest talking about that. the
Yeah,
the
and it was
author. Yeah.
yeah, and it was when I listened back to it, I was thinking, no, they are different then. Yeah, so it's a small little sausages, yeah, and they're wrapped in bacon.
Mhm.
Have to have that, yeah. Yorkshire pudding, and it's a one time in the year where we'll have roast meals throughout the year, but it's a one time a year where we'll get some stuffing. We'll have stuffing with it,
Mm.
and I think again the only other thing for us that makes it Christmas is we'll get a lot of nibbles, and I'm doing the air quotes here, which is going to really work well for people on the listening at home. But yeah, the nibbles. So we'll get like a lot of the finger foods. It will be the cheese and biscuits. So again, that's like the one time of the
Mhm.
year we'll get that, and yeah, just all the finger foods. And it's the one time of year where I will eat like all the Italian meats for about 7 days straight in a row, and the pork pies and the sausage rolls, and yeah, you're eating them at all times of the day, and the chutneys, etc. Yeah, so I
Mhm.
think because it is just that one time of the year, we tend to kind of go for a full out loads of variety of foods. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then
Mhm.
because you've got the new year to go into your whole new fitter you, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Try to reverse
Sure.
everything from the last month. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yep.
When it's a chocolate in the morning, the 11 o'clock
So the
glass of wine.
holidays.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Hell yeah.
Do you get time off over the holidays? Do you work over the holidays?
Depends.
Yeah, it depends.
Our office is usually open, but a lot of people take
Yeah.
the week between Christmas and New Year's off.
Sometimes the office will close the week between Christmas and New Year's, but that was a while ago. They don't really do it now.
Yeah.
They used to close and like pay us. Like, we're just going to close for
Okay.
the week between Christmas and New Year's. It's paid. Don't worry about it. But now, not so much.
Yeah. They're like, we paid you for 2 months during COVID. You're not getting anything else.
Yeah.
Do you get the day after Christmas as a holiday? So over here we get Christmas Day and Boxing Day,
And
as we
Boxing
call it.
Day.
And it's great if it falls at a weekend because they carry those over to the Monday and the Tuesday. So what you want is
Nice.
Christmas Day on a Saturday, Boxing
Mhm.
Day on the Sunday, and so you get the Saturday, Sunday, Monday,
The-
Tuesday off. Yeah,
Nice. No, we
Yeah,
just get Christmas Day off.
Yeah.
We don't even get Christmas Eve off. And I feel like Christmas Eve is pretty big here as far as celebrating.
Yeah.
A lot of people celebrate on Christmas Eve, but we're open.
Yep.
Do you know what? I am so hungry again now. I've got from the start. I've just my mouth has just been watering. So I'm gonna have to raid the fridge now again. So before we go, thank you again for the two of you coming on. Love having you on, and I've got to get you on. I've got to already start thinking about the next thing to get you on because you two, the conversation we have is just brilliant. I know you're kind of on on a bit of a break at the moment, but do you want to just shout out your pod? Are there any plans? Is there anything upcoming that you want to tell people about?
Send in your stories. That's what we want to tell people.
Absolutely.
No, we'll be starting up again in January. We're going to be recording some episodes in December, so we'll be ready to go in January. We're always looking for workplace stories. They can be weird, funny, tragic, scary, any kind of just weird shit that happens to you on the job. We want to hear about it.
That's right. What she said.
Send them in, and they can be anonymous. They'll keep you anonymous, but just send them in, because if you listen to some, like I said, there won't be anything that if you think your story's bad or embarrassing, wait till you hear some of the ones that you've already had on, right? There's a whole world of embarrassing out there. So all right, look, well, thank you very much. I'm looking forward to I'll let you know when you can expect a knock on the door from me, because you've definitely got me interested. This is what I'm doing basically. So this is so I'll know, right, when I'm coming over to the States, which direction do I head? So
when you make your world tour, whose couch are you crashing on?
I will definitely be sleeping, after these meals. When I bring the pod on tour, the American leg of the tour, I'm definitely passing by yours. So look, thank you very much for coming on again, and we'll speak to you soon. So don't forget, send your stories in to or contact K&J on Fuck My Work Life. That's on all social media you're on now, aren't you, as well? So
pretty much.
For me, you can get me again, just look for Casting Views across them all. If you want to be on one of these episodes and give me more recipe ideas that I can just marvel at but never actually make, you can get me at Casting Views across all the social media platforms, or castingviewspod@gmail.com. And I'll see you next episode.
1, 2, 3, 4. If I want your opinion, I will give it to you. Come on, take what we've got, 'cause you need it. Don't make us get